I guess. So they did a video after the Buffalo shooting. I think it was a couple months ago, in Buffalo, New York, where a Caucasian drove 200 miles across New York State to go to a black neighborhood and shoot up a black supermarket. He'd been there before. I've made the point, on here that this wasn't crazy. That if he was crazy, you're telling me he didn't pass any other Walmarts? He didn't pass any other stores? He didn't pass any other just areas where there's a lot of people? He had to get to this black Walmart? See, he wrote the N-word on his gun. He said, here's your reparations on the gun. He live streamed it for everybody can see. My dad watched it. I didn't watch it. He did many things to show you that he was evincing a hateful mind, that these were the actions of a racist mind, and that he was fighting on the basis of the white replacement theory. That's a good way to put it. So I remember, I don't watch Fox News, but I remember something just told me to watch Tucker Carlson, and I watched it, and I'm glad I did. I've talked about how being on the left, I was on the right when I was Alex Jones. I had to watch him all the time. I felt like anything anybody else said was propaganda, and that it was something that would skew me, would give me false information. And being on the left, I can watch Tucker Carlson. I'll feel dumber. I don't like it. I can watch him. And I can tell you every bit of why it's wrong. And I can tell you every bit of how he takes things out of context and he puts stuff to what we know to be disaffected white people in the rural areas, and how he's speaking to them on stuff that he's giving them lies about stuff they wouldn't know about. He's giving them just convenient statements, stuff that makes them feel better about why other folks are being hurt. Tucker Carlson basically made it out that black people, it's our fault that we got killed in Buffalo, and that if we didn't talk about racism so much, these people wouldn't be emboldened to do this, and that there'd be more of these shootings. And he also talked about how, like I said before, he inconvenient things that, leaving out facts, saying that this was a guy that killed 10 strangers, and that he was wearing a mock military uniform, and we knew then it was racist motivated, and he should have known that. And I talked about then, and I talk about now, how that shows you that these aren't media groups. These are people who are really operating within that stream, that artery of white supremacy, and that he was a white supremacist. He is one, but he was acting as one because he was defending the action. Basically, that all white supremacy isn't guys with guns and Confederate flags. It's guys in suits. It's guys with college degrees that can kind of mute it. They can kind of turn the volume down on public attention. That, maybe this wasn't so bad, and comparing, apples to oranges, and just trying to dilute the reality of a Caucasian going to a minority area. In that case, it was a black supermarket in a black neighborhood. And in the case of Colorado Springs, it was a homosexual nightclub. Same thing. Diluting the message. Diluting the reality that years ago I used to hear them talk about safe spaces and how Republicans hate safe spaces. And I just thought about this morning that they're going to safe spaces to kill people. I mean, that guy drove 200 miles to a black neighborhood to kill black people. That was terrorism. My job, I drive about 300 miles a day. He drove the majority of my day. That's what he did. 200 miles is a long drive. What else? You are, it's motivated by hatred. Clear and simple. The one in Colorado Springs, this guy went to a club for homosexuals. These aren't areas that normal people would go to unless they wanted to indulge or just have to be in that area. That's what civil war is. They're going to safe spaces that people have picked out to protect themselves. Whether it be the shooting in Pittsburgh, we had the Tree of Life Synagogue. Whether it be, the Dylan Roof, the church in South Carolina. These are safe spaces. I think most people would agree these are safe spaces for marginalized groups. It bothered me. I listened to a lady talk about Christianity and how the people that died in that club are going to hell. And it bothered me because it's another dilution of the message. My message is not about judging people. Because maybe the people in the supermarket died in Buffalo ain't going to heaven. Whatever you believe religiously, these are human beings. It's like you, it's like me, with lives and families, people that love and care about them, and responsibilities they have. For the lives to be taken in such a reckless and arbitrary manner, for you to defend that, to me, that is just the most cold-blooded thing you could say to me. That is the most cold-blooded reaction you can have, is that this is their fault, or focusing on them to say, you're going to hell. I remember right after you had the shooting in Buffalo, you had the shooting in New Valley, Texas. Nobody talked about Buffalo no more. Buffalo was a wake-up call for me because they were in their area, minding their business, and they were still murdered. Republicans talk about people having guns. The security guard with a gun, he got killed. The guy had a bulletproof vest on. It shocks me, and this is why when you hear them talk about uniting, what are we uniting with? What are you uniting with? People who want to judge you after your death? The bodies wasn't even cold yet. And she talking about where they're going after they leave this mortal realm. The bodies ain't even buried yet. That's wickedness. And who the hell is that woman to speak about anybody's life choices or their religious beliefs? It's wrong. But I realized that this is what Republicans do when they've lost the message, they've lost the direction, and they've lost the ear of the people. Is they're simply standing in to defend white supremacists and to defend people who are committing acts of terrorism on our streets and in our communities today. It's the GOP. It's Trump's party. And this is why they lost the midterm so clearly. Thanks for listening.